picture this. You're a young reporter, only 23 years old,
Wow.
and you've landed a pretty big interview with P. Diddy back in the year 2000 when he was really at the top of his game.
Yeah.
But as the night goes on, things take a bit of a dark turn, and you find yourself being pressured to join a hot tub party
Oh.
with a close associate of Diddy's urging you to get naked.
Wow.
Now, this is just one of many unsettling stories
Yeah.
that are swirling around Diddy right now because he's been arrested.
Yeah, he's facing some very serious charges. Charges that could really send shockwaves through the entertainment industry.
So we're diving deep into these allegations today, sifting through court documents, firsthand accounts.
We're going to try and get to the bottom of this whole thing.
So let's start with the charges.
Okay.
We're talking about sex trafficking, racketeering,
Wow.
conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Yeah, each of those is incredibly serious on its own, but when you combine them all together, it really paints a very disturbing picture.
And it's that racketeering charge that really stands out. I mean, that suggests that this was not just a one-off.
Right. It suggests an ongoing criminal enterprise.
A pattern of behavior.
With Diddy at the center of it all. And if the prosecution can actually prove that, well, he could be facing life in prison.
I mean, this is a far cry from the Diddy we all know.
Right. The rapper.
The entrepreneur.
The party host.
Yeah. But these court documents paint a much darker picture.
Yeah, a much darker picture, filled with some pretty shocking details.
So let's get into some of those details.
Okay.
What are we talking about here?
Well, the indictment reads like a Hollywood thriller. We're talking about drug-fueled orgies that Diddy allegedly called freak-offs.
Freak-offs.
Freak-offs. We're talking about threats of violence against women who didn't comply with his demands, and even the use of video recordings for blackmail.
I mean, this is suggesting a systematic abuse of power.
Oh, absolutely.
A level of premeditation.
Yeah, it's very calculated. And then when you consider what was found during those searches of Diddy's home, 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube.
Okay.
And even more concerning, 3 AR-15 rifles with the serial numbers removed.
Wow. So not just exploitation, but potential violence as well.
Yeah, it takes it to a whole other level.
Now, Diddy's legal team is offering a $50 million bail package.
Yeah.
And they're promising strict monitoring, but the judge decided to keep him behind bars.
That's right. The judge cited concerns about him being a flight risk.
Obviously.
Potentially intimidating witnesses.
Of course.
And even posing a danger to society.
So they're not taking any chances.
Nope. And the prosecutor didn't mince words either, calling Diddy a serial abuser and a serial obstructor.
Wow.
They're really building a case that portrays him as someone with a long history of wrongdoing and a willingness to manipulate the system to his advantage.
And there's this one little detail that I just can't get out of my head.
What's that?
Diddy's defense attorney.
Yeah.
Previously represented Keith Rainier.
Oh, wow. The leader of that NXIVM sex cult.
Now, I'm not saying that means anything, but it's an interesting connection.
It certainly raises some eyebrows. I mean, an attorney who's defended someone accused of running a sex cult brings a very particular set of skills and knowledge to the table. It makes you wonder what kind of legal strategy they might be cooking up.
So where is Diddy right now as he awaits trial?
Well, he's being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. And let me tell you, that's not some cushy celebrity rehab center.
I can imagine.
That jail is notorious for its terrible conditions, violence among inmates, even inmate deaths. It's a really tough place.
And given Diddy's celebrity status and the nature of the accusations against him, he's most likely in solitary confinement.
Right, otherwise known as the SHU.
And that means 23 hours a day in a small cell,
Yeah.
1 hour of recreation,
3 showers a week.
6 a.m. wake-up call.
Very limited contact with the outside world.
I mean, what a fall from grace.
It really is. You go from a life of luxury private jets, lavish parties, to a tiny cell.
And the isolation can really take a toll on a person's mental state.
Oh, absolutely. Solitary confinement is incredibly psychologically taxing. The lack of human interaction, constant surveillance, limited stimulation, it can wear down even the strongest of minds. And it's certainly a far cry from the image Diddy has cultivated over the years.
And as if things couldn't get any worse for him, the number of accusers seems to be growing.
That's right.
We mentioned that reporter from 2000.
Lena Watts.
Yeah, who claims she was pressured to get naked at a party.
Right.
She's not the only one.
No, prosecutors have already interviewed over 50 victims and witnesses. And they're expecting even more to come forward.
This is suggesting a pattern of behavior here.
Absolutely.
And to make matters even worse, Diddy's longtime PR guru, Natalie Moore,
Wow.
she's quit.
Really?
cut off all contact.
That's a huge red flag. I mean, this is someone who's been by his side for over 2 decades, shaping his public image, navigating scandals.
Yeah,
When someone like that walks away, it speaks volumes.
it does. It really does.
I mean, it really makes you wonder, how could someone who had it all throw it all away like this?
yeah. I mean, did people just turn a blind eye
Right.
because he was P. Diddy?
Right. I mean, were there warning signs that people ignored? Or was this all just happening under the radar? I guess that's what investigators are going to be trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And speaking of digging deeper,
Hmm.
let's go back to that indictment for a minute.
Okay.
It really goes into graphic detail about those freak-offs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's pretty disturbing stuff.
Yeah.
It suggests that these weren't just parties. This
Right.
was orchestrated
Yeah.
with Diddy at the center of it all, allegedly manipulating and exploiting these people.
And the fact that he called them freak-offs,
Right.
it's like he was trying to normalize it.
Yeah, trying to make it seem like it was no big deal, just a bunch of people having fun.
But then there's that allegation
Mm.
that he was using these events to create blackmail material.
Yeah, that's really chilling. It suggests a level of premeditation, a willingness to use power, to not only exploit, but also to silence and control
Mm.
these women.
And it makes you wonder how many people were involved in these freak-offs. How many of them felt pressured or coerced?
And how many people knew what was going on, but just looked the other way?
Exactly. Were there enablers? People who facilitated these things or benefited from them in some way?
I mean, the indictment does mention the presence of male prostitutes.
Right.
Which suggests that there were other people complicit in this whole scheme.
And we know that this isn't Diddy's first run-in with the law.
Oh, yeah. He's had his fair share of trouble over the years.
I mean, let's not forget about that shooting at a New York nightclub back in the 90s.
Right. And you can bet that the prosecution's going to bring all that up.
Oh, yeah, they're going to paint a picture of a guy
Yeah.
who's reckless,
Mhm.
who has no regard for the law,
Yeah.
and who thinks that he can just buy his way out of trouble.
Yeah, they're going to go after him with everything they've got.
So with all this hanging over his head,
Mm-hmm.
what does this mean for Diddy's future? I mean, he's built an empire,
Right? Music, fashion, entertainment. He's got it all.
but all of that could come crashing down.
It could, and I think we could see brands distancing themselves from him, partnerships dissolving, his music facing boycotts.
It's hard to come back from something like this.
It really is, especially in the age of social media where news spreads like wildfire and public opinion can change in an instant.
And then there's his legacy.
Right. I mean, he's often been seen as this self-made mogul, this rags to riches success story.
Yeah.
But these allegations could tarnish all of that.
Maybe even irreparably.
Yeah, this case really makes you question everything you thought you knew about Diddy.
It does.
It's like we're seeing a whole different side of him now.
A much darker side.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that fame and fortune don't make you immune to consequences.
In fact,
Mm.
they can often make things a lot worse.
Nah,
It's a cautionary tale
absolutely.
about the dangers of unchecked power
Mm.
and the importance of holding people accountable, no matter how rich and famous they are.
And it's a reminder that the world of celebrity and glamour is often just a facade.
Yeah, carefully constructed illusion.
Yeah, and sometimes, when that illusion is shattered, what we see underneath is pretty ugly.
We've talked about the charges, the
Okay.
evidence, the potential consequences,
Mm.
but, I think we need to take a step back for a second and think about the human cost of all of this.
Yeah, I mean, if these allegations are true, there are victims out there who have been through something truly horrific.
And it takes a lot of courage to come forward in a case like this,
Yeah.
especially when you're going up against someone like P. Diddy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's got money, he's got power, he's got connections. It would be very intimidating.
Yeah. And, you worry about not being believed
Right.
or facing backlash
Yeah.
or just getting caught up in a legal battle that you can't possibly win.
And yet these women are coming forward. And I
Yeah.
think that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it could empower others to speak out as well.
Exactly. It breaks the silence. And it challenges that culture of protecting powerful men.
Yeah, and I also think about Diddy's inner circle.
Right. The people who worked with him, who partied with him, who thought they knew him.
I mean, what must they be going through right now?
I can only imagine. It's got to be a real shock.
Yeah,
I mean, they probably feel betrayed.
like they were living a lie.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, how well can you ever really know someone?
Yeah, I mean, it's a reminder that even the people closest to us can have secrets.
Yeah, and that fame and power can really distort reality.
It's like they create this bubble where the normal rules don't apply.
And eventually, that bubble bursts.
What does all this mean for Diddy? I mean, obviously his future is uncertain, both legally and professionally.
Yeah.
But I think there's a bigger question here. What does this case say about the entertainment industry as a whole?
I think it exposes the dark side of an industry that's often seen as glamorous and exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reminder that the pursuit of fame and fortune can come at a very steep price.
Yeah, and not just for the people involved, but for everyone around them.
And I think it's a wake-up call for the industry to really take a look at itself.
To examine its culture,
Yeah.
its power dynamics.
And to make some changes.
Yeah, we need more transparency, more accountability, and more respect for everyone involved.
This deep dive has taken us on quite a journey.
It has.
And it's a reminder that behind the headlines, behind the carefully constructed images, there are real people, real consequences, real pain.
And this story's not over yet. It's going to continue to unfold, and we're going to be here to bring you all the latest developments.
If you found this deep dive insightful, please subscribe for more explorations of complex topics and hidden truths.
That's right. And until next time, keep asking questions, keep seeking knowledge, and keep the conversation going.